Hello everybody, and welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon. Today I'm really excited to be starting a new series where I'm going to be sharing my perspective and some of the insights relative to your moon sign, and basically giving you an understanding of how to actually interpret or understand your moon sign from an evolutionary astrology perspective. Okay, I think that one of the things that's really needed to kind of reshape the way that astrology is seen as we go forward into the new paradigm that we're busy creating at this stage is to really understand the true essence of what astrology actually symbolizes. And evolutionary astrology, in my opinion, gives such a great understanding because it includes the spiritual dynamic of us. In other words, it includes us, who we are. And it empowers us to recognize that we are human beings experiencing ourselves on Earth, and the zodiac itself, including all the symbols and such, are a reflection of what exists within, and that everything outside of ourselves in that way is that internalized reflection. So when we're looking at our signs in our astrology charts, what we're looking at is our own spiritual nature, our own sort of connection in that way. So the moon sign in this particular series is going to come and teach you about how you are operating through that lens and then understanding your evolutionary intention, as you can see that I've written over there. So this video is an introduction. This basically gives you understanding about what it actually means, what the moon means, and then from then onwards I'll be basically sharing with you perspectives on what it means to have a moon in a specific house and a specific sign, okay? And what are your evolutionary intentions? So I really hope that sounds interesting, and this has got you excited to learn more and hopefully be able to teach other people as well about what it actually means, okay? Great. So the moon, in terms of understanding it in a birth chart, can be seen like this. Now, there is no sense of belief system that is required. We just need to look at nature to show us how it is operating and get that reflection, because it's fact, we can see it, it's there. So the moon symbolizes, it is always in relationship to the sun, okay? The moon is always in relationship to the sun. And what is happening is that the moon reflects the light, or should I say exactly that? The moon reflects the light of the sun that creates a third dimension, in other words, a third reality, which can be seen as on Earth. Now, basically what the moon does is that during the night period of time, it creates that very thing, the reflection, which is why that picture over there is so beautiful, because it gives the understanding of what the moon symbolizes, is the opportunity for us to realize that there's a part of us that is receptive, that is yin energy, that is a part of us that goes deep within ourselves and understands what we are in a very reflective and introverted state. So you know that we have yin and we have yang, right? We have on and we have off. So the sun is a reflection of expression of energy, and the moon is a reception of that energy. And together they create a third reality, which is Earth, right? Us. Which is why when you know and have been looking at astrology, you've always looked at your sun and moon sign as the biggest thing. And yet the thing that's actually probably the most, the deepest part of yourself, which creates the biggest part of your reality, is actually Pluto. But because of the moon and sun sign being part of your personality, and nobody's literally looking deeply within, we tend to see them as that, so the sun and moon sign, right? Our personality, the biggest and most conscious part of ourselves. So sun, moon, and ascendant are all parts of our personal things. In that way, we understand our personality, but if we really want to get deep, we go to Pluto in that way. So the moon is always interacting with the sun, and it is a reflection. It's reflecting, it's receiving the light from the sun that is reflecting, okay? So what that means for us is that the moon, the fourth house in Cancer, those are all the same archetypes, okay? So whenever you're looking in an astrology chart, I want you to look at where the placement of the moon is, in other words, what sign it's in, what sign is ruling your fourth house, okay? And where Cancer is, where the sign of Cancer is on your astrology. Those will give you really detailed and specific, okay, to you, specific to you, ways in which you are understanding yourself, your self-image, okay? The self-image that is independent of another person's perspective or perception of you. It is how you inwardly relate to yourself on a moment-to-moment basis, okay? Right? The moon. The moon correlates to how you inwardly see yourself independently of any other person, how you reflect yourself, how you are constantly acknowledging the nature of yourself, okay? The second thing is that every single one of us needs to constantly create security in our lives, okay? Now, I want to try and break this down for you in a way that's really, really easy to understand. I want to take imagine three spaces, okay? Three empty spaces. We have a space here, we have a space here, and we have a space here. 3 dimensions of time. I want to now add this space over here to be the past. I want to add this to be the present, and I want to add this to be the future, okay? Now, we can only exist within the present, okay? We cannot exist in the past, we cannot exist in the future. Those are abstract spaces within ourselves where thoughts and emotions exist in that way. But the most present you can be is right now, in this moment, as you're experiencing this reality. So what the moon does is it reflects the moments that you are currently existing within, right now, this moment. And as you shift from the past into the future, the moon reflects how you make that transition. Does that make sense? In the birth chart, it shows you how you make that transition from the past experiences that have already happened and how you are moving from the experiences that already happened into experiences that are going to be. Okay? Does that make sense? And as you move through that transition, as you transition through moment to moment to moment to moment to moment, every single moment of that transition is a reflection of who you are. It's how you move in those moments. Does that make sense? So right now, as you are experiencing this video, there has been experiences that have already happened, information that's already passed, moments that have already passed. And you are constantly moving from that moment into this one, and now into this one, and now into this one, and now into this one. Does that make sense? And so the moon is that constant transition. It's that midpoint. It's that present space that you're in right now, that you're experiencing. That is what it symbolizes on its deepest layer. Okay? So what it does is that we are, as human beings, a collection of our experiences, right? A collection of our experiences. Those collection of experiences creates a self-image. Okay? Does that make sense? So you're somebody that experiences on a daily basis a specific routine. That routine starts at some point to create an identity, right? This is how you identify yourself. I am a person that gets up in the morning, takes my kids to school, and eats breakfast at this point in time, loves my coffee. Those are habits, behavior patterns that you assign and do every single day that give you a sense of comfort, a sense of grounding, right? Another person has a different lifestyle completely. They like a teenager, for instance, likes to sleep until 11 o'clock in the afternoon or in the morning, and then gets up, does whatever they need to do, and then sort of like jams out and does things, etc. And then his routine, his behaviors relative to another person's creates his personality. It's how they inwardly define themselves on a moment-to-moment basis. Does that make sense? So the moon, like I said, very simply, is that space, okay, that is being moved, constantly shifting, which creates the self-image, how I'm inwardly reflecting to myself, okay? Now, on a moment-to-moment basis, we are constantly nurturing ourselves, looking after, being the parent to ourselves, right? Which is why the moon, Cancer in the 4th house, will reflect the nature of how you actually nurture yourself, how you look after yourself, how you mother yourself in that way. So the placement of the moon in the birth chart shows you how you inwardly see yourself, how you inwardly identify yourself versus other people. And it's what gives you a sense of security in every single moment. So whatever sign you have the moon in will show you how you're specifically creating security in every moment relative to how you are moving from each moment to each moment. I hope that hasn't confused you a lot in that sense. Spend some time trying to digest the information. It's really cool to understand because it's how it's operating. But the moon basically reflects that self-image. What the sun does is it gives you creative actualization. It gives you personality, right? So your egocentric structure, your ego, your identity in that sense. I'm going to take this one step further, but this is a little bit advanced in that sense. But like I said, take time. Write in the comments below if you want to know more about that in that way. But what the moon does is it creates a container, okay, in which the soul uses to understand itself on earth, okay? So in other words, my identity, my name, etc., etc., etc. These are all definitions that I've given to myself. But when you die, you don't actually take those identities with you. You don't actually take that personality with you. What you take is a collection of your experiences. So what the ego is, in terms of this experience, is the moon, my identity, and how I carry that on every single moment-to-moment basis that allows me to understand my experiences. Does that make sense? Okay, so I really hope you enjoyed this introduction video. It gives you a grounded basis understanding of what it is. And so watch this first and then check out the placement of the moon in wherever it is in your astrology chart. And I'll be giving you evolutionary intentions relative to that. Okay, so we'll check you in the series. Take care. Bye-bye.